Maybe it's in our genes, America's addiction to debt. George Washington had to borrow money to get to New York for his inauguration. The United States was born in debt, owing money for the revolution, and has been in the red every year but two. Well, now more and more of what we borrow comes from overseas. Countries like Kuwait own a bigger and bigger piece of us. Anthony Mason introduces us to the Kuwaiti who helped bail out two U.S. financial institutions. Our series, Life in Debt in America.
The oil-rich Persian Gulf. For decades, it's been America's gas station. It's now becoming our bank.
Your fund is a major investor in the U.S., yes?
Yes.
Badr al-Saad has never spoken to American television before. He's the head of the Kuwait Investment Authority, the tiny Gulf nation's national reserve fund, now flush with cash from Kuwait's oil profits.
You're sitting on over $200 billion, is that right?
Let me tell you, by law, I cannot mention any figures. I am prohibited.
Yes, Katie, please.
Managed from this London trading desk, Kuwait's fund, estimated at $215 billion, is among the biggest in the world. One of Kuwait's biggest investments, U.S. debt.
Is the U.S. still a good investment?
Yes, over long term, I believe it's a good investment.
44 cents out of every dollar our country owes in public debt is now owed to foreign investors. $2.2 trillion worth, nearly 10% more than just a year ago. Because our debt at home is growing so fast, we've had to go abroad to borrow from the world's booming economies, like the 6 Gulf states, including Kuwait, which control $1.7 trillion. China's fund, which has $200 billion, and Russia's with $125 billion.
It changes the nature of the world in the capital markets.
Wall Street dealmaker Gary Parr has brought together foreign investors and U.S. companies hungry for cash.
As long as oil is at $100 a barrel, and as long as we buy as many goods as we do from China, it is certain that a lot of capital and basically money is going to flow into those markets, and they're going to invest somewhere.
But the surge in foreign investment makes many uneasy.
There's an awful lot of power that comes with lending money.
University of Chicago professor Charles Whelan says that power can be political, economic, or legal.
And there is no doubt that many of those things accompany the fact that these sovereign wealth funds are loaning a tremendous amount of capital to American businesses and indirectly to the American government by just being the ones with deep pockets at a time that we need to borrow.
When Citigroup and Merrill Lynch were hemorrhaging money because of the subprime crisis, they needed cash quick. It was Kuwait that came to the rescue.
You put $3 billion in Citibank and $2 billion in...
Merrill Lynch.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a big vote of confidence in those companies.
It is.
But as al-Saad looks for the best investments for Kuwait, he's growing increasingly concerned about America's free spending.
You have a fundamental worry about what's happening in the U.S.
This is a fundamental issue. This is a structural issue in the U.S. economy.
And nothing concerns him more than our spiraling debt.
This is a real problem. And if this continues forever, then there is a real issue in the U.S. economy. Somebody has to fund this deficit.
For now, it's countries like Kuwait. But for how much longer? Anthony Mason, CBS News, Kuwait City.